Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And this is the match reaction for Everton's 6-0 defeat against Chelsea. And I mean, where do you start with a result and a performance like that one? There's a lot of thoughts going through my mind at the moment. Um, I've always been quite a positive person, especially this season when it's come to Everton. When it's come to Sean Dyche. Um, and I guess getting it out of the way straight away, I'm still somehow, even after a result like that, I'm still not quite as worried as I have been at this point in the last two seasons about relegation. But this is definitely the most concerned I've been at any point this season. Quite obviously. Um, like I say, I've been very um, defensive of Dyche for a long time. And he's had his critics throughout the season, really. Apart from maybe that like period where we had four wins on the trot, pretty much any other point in the season, there's been a lot of people saying they're not convinced and they think we need something different. And I've always disputed that point, and I guess I still do, but it is more now to do with the fact that I don't really think there's an option there in the first place to get rid of him. It's definitely too late, I think, to sack him now in the season. Um, like I say, there's no one readily available who we can get in straight away, who we can afford to give a massive wage to, and potential promises about another season or whatever. Potentially playing Premier League wages to a manager in the Championship for a Championship club, which we almost certainly have to do at this stage of the season. Yeah, and it might not be enough. There's all sorts of factors. And obviously, there's still the thing about who actually is in charge of the club at the moment. Is there anyone with the like authority to get rid of him? It's an absolutely absurd, farcical situation that we find ourselves in. And it was a bit of a farcical game for me. And I'm trying to be as level-headed about all this as possible. And the fact is, we started pretty well. I do think we set up wrong, and it's easy to say that in hindsight, but as soon as they went 1-0 up, it was kind of clear that this idea of trying to push them up the field, play a high line, try and catch them out based on how fast their attackers are, and how tricky their attackers are, and just how different it is to how we've played all season and how it's been effective defensively. I think our plan was to shock them and try and like you know like push them in and trap them in early on and startle them quite a bit and just get on top of them. And like I say, for the first few minutes, it was looking like it was work. We had that really good chance that Beto should have scored, and you can argue that it would be a different game if that had gone in, of course. But as soon as they go 1-0 ahead, we've seen it so many times under Dyche. I think the stat it still is, isn't it, that every time we've gone behind under Dyche, we've either lost or every now and then we managed to get a draw, but we've never come back from behind to win a game since Dyche came in, and that's something that even someone like me who has a lot of the time seen exactly what he's trying to do and got behind it, even that's something that needs to be addressed. I know it's not easy. I know it can't be done overnight, but it's still such a concern. You can just see how the heads drop, and that's what I mean. It all comes back to this thing that you can level all the criticism you want at the manager, and people do that because it's the easiest thing to change. It's one thing that needs to be changed, and sometimes it can make all the world of difference. But the fact is, it's the group of players just aren't good enough. We all know it. The squad has got steadily worse over the last two seasons, and the last two seasons we've been up against it. And the fact is that we are still better off now, or at least we would be miles better off now than we have been at the last two seasons, if not for the points deduction. And there's um yeah, there's so many things to consider, and it gets harder and harder to be this balanced and level-headed. And you want to just you know just say, oh, he needs to go or whatever. You need to just whatever. But I don't know. That's what I mean. It's yeah, like I said, this is definitely the most concerned I've been at any point this season now, and um. I saw earlier in the day that it's a year ago since we lost 3-1 to Fulham last season at home. And I remember that being the match that was like almost my tipping point. And then the next home match when we got battered by Newcastle was my tipping point. And I do feel quite similarly now, I think. I think this could be where it starts to tip over because our next game is so important now. It was always going to be like massively important. It had been, you know, bookmarked and targeted for months now. We knew it was going to be an important match, but now Nottingham Forest are going to be licking their lips looking at that. They managed to get a semi-decent draw with Wolves. I didn't like watch the game, whatever. I don't know if that was deserved or whatever, or how well they played or what, but they managed to get a decent draw with Wolves. Meanwhile, we've just been flattened by Chelsea. And like I say, and Luton will be similar as well. We've got them in a few weeks. They have got a pretty good running for them. They'll be looking at some of those games and fancying themselves. And coupled with the points deduction we got last week, it's dragged us just that little bit more in it. And a pummeling that our goal difference has taken now after that result. They'll both be thinking they're there for the taking now. The fact is they're both in better form than we are, not like by a massive margin, but they just are. And that type of result that we've just suffered is one that can just break a team. And it, it's I think that's something that can't quite be judged at the moment. And people are leveling all the old things about like, oh, the players aren't playing for him anymore, or he's lost the dressing room like that. I genuinely don't think that's what it got to. I genuinely don't. Got to remember we won our last game. People will say that it wasn't a good performance or whatever, but we won our last game when we had to win it. Um, and as I say, I look at that first 10 minutes and he was clear they were clearly doing what they've been instructed to do. And I completely, I hold my hands up, he got it completely wrong today for me, Dyche, and I haven't said that many times this season. I think I genuinely do think a lot of times we've been pretty unfortunate and we've set up in the right way rather, and the chances just haven't gone in or whatever, or like a sloppy goal here and there. But yeah, today he got it wrong. I completely hold my hands up. But they were still doing what they were being told to do, and I didn't see stropping and people like say about the attitudes of the players. Oh, that's never been my concern with them. My concern has been they're just not good enough in general, really. I'd never really an attitude problem with any of them, I don't think. Um, and yeah, so. Yeah, like I say, it places a lot more importance on the Forest game now, definitely. And yeah, obviously we've got the concern, Cavalier wasn't fit, wasn't able to play, wasn't even in the squad, didn't travel down. Hopefully that's just a precaution. We do again, it's never a word you really want to say. Shouldn't be taking precautions in this situation. But like I say, the Forest game is the more important one, always was. It's 100% now, of course. Um, so if it means that he's fully fit and raring to go for that, and hopefully still with the confidence that I think I saw in the latest match against Burnley, then that might prove to be the right decision. But yeah, only time will tell with that one. And then similarly, Brentford going down with that injury in the second half is a massive concern for us. Again, like I say, they'll be licking their lips even more if they're up against Michael Keane on Sunday, Nottingham Forest. Um, so yeah, hopefully that's also like not too serious, and he's still able to play next week. And yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about this. Really, like I say, it was the Cole Palmer show, really, wasn't it? A fantastic first goal, second goal, a little bit fortunate, but poor defending on our part. Terrible mistake from Pickford, but then a really well taken goal. An excellent goal from Jackson as well. Like that one, I'm genuinely not really sure what else we could have done. You could argue maybe Tarkowski should block out the cross a bit quicker, but once it gets to Jackson, he just does everything perfectly. Um, then the penalty in the second half, which obviously was quite controversial at the time, and then you look at it was given for the first incident for the foul on Palmer rather than the one on on Madueke, and you realise, yeah, fair enough, he's tramped on his foot or whatever. And then a goal for their youngster at the end. Great moment for him, but yeah, just capping off a really miserable day for us. And that's all I can really say, really. Like I say, I think my main overriding thought for this now is the Forest game is absolutely essential now. If we lose that, I am going to start to genuinely worry. And if we set up like we did against Chelsea, then we will lose that game. They will, they could hit us precisely how Chelsea hit us on the break, just causing us nightmares with their pace. The likes of Alanga, Gibbs White, whoever, Hudson-Odoi if he's still playing. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah. So yeah, it's a massive one, and Goodison's got to try and get its mojo back after again they you can't blame any single fan, especially one that travelled down to that game tonight, by the way, and their money should be refunded. Again, I've no idea if we're in a position to do that. We have to get a fucking loan from 777 to refund the travel or whatever, but they should definitely be refunded for that. And like I say, it's going to be very hard for a supporter to pick themselves up after that one. But we've got to try. We've done it the last 2 seasons. You could argue we've got to try and just get behind the players who we know are crap, um, and just hope that we can help them get over the line and just get no, not something, get a win on Sunday, and try and just put this horrible result behind us. And yeah, I think that is all I can really say about it. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment below, giving your thoughts on the match. Are you Dyche in? Are you Dyche out? I imagine I know what the majority of you will be thinking on that one. And subscribe to the Toffee Blues channel for more Everton content. And we will see you in the next video. Cheers.